happy Tuesday. First video of the week. Sorry, didn't feel like making a video yesterday. With that being said, we're going to be talking about fossil fuels and Biden and how he's going to be destroying the economy. He's going to be, I don't know exactly what his plan is because he's old, or starting the degrowth, I should say. This comes from Fox.com or FoxNews.com, written by Thomas Catanezzi. Fox News, published September 5th, 2023 at 9:22 a.m. EDT. Biden admin quietly reverses the Trump-era rule, bans transporting fossil fuels by train. Senator Cruz says Biden admin action is another salvo in his war on American energy. Unfortunately, we're not able to replace fossil fuel. I mean, it'd be nice if we could, don't get me wrong. We're just not there yet to start replacing in mass. Biden administration quietly rescinded a Trump-era regulation allowing companies to transport liquefied natural gas (LNG) via rail, a victory for environmental groups, because environmental groups wants no fossil fuel. They don't want us to be warm in the winter, cool in the summer. I mean, because that's usually what their end goal is. We can stop fossil fuel and they'll find something to complain about. Like, we had too many homes. We got to destroy the homes. We got to make sure that the wild can go back so the buffaloes can roam. In federal filing Friday ahead of the holiday weekend, the Department of Transportation Pipeline and Hazardous Material Safety Administration, PHMSA, formally suspend the 2020 authorization of the LNG transportation and rail tank cars. The rule will remain in effect until either a permit rule regarding the LNG rail tank car transportation is proposed and finalized, a process that may take several months, or June 30th, 2025. We're encouraged by the decision to suspend the dangerous practice of transporting highly flammable LNG by rail through communities, says Patrick Gretner, the director of the eco group Sierra Club Beyond Dirty Fuel campaign. We have seen the destruction that an accident can cause to the communities bordering the railroad route, often communities most impacted by pollution, and we support any step that would keep that from happening again. We urge the PHMSA to make only a reasonable decision available to them, make the suspension permanent, and ban LNG by rail once and for all. So instead of having a control kaboom or a control environment, because the rail is pretty much a controlled environment, we're going to have to do these by trucks. And I was reading on it, trucks have about 40 days to transport this fuel before it evaporates or it turns back into vapor. 40 days. So they have to go from one state to another state to another state in hopes that it's not too late. On top of that, you're causing all these trucks to go into the cities, which is a potential for a kaboom or something hazardous, whereas it's going to have unintended consequences because it's not a controlled environment. Now, I'm not saying by rail is any safer or any better, other than the fact that you know the trajectory that it's going, you know the path it's going, and you may be able to more likely to mitigate it. See here, we got Pete Buttigieg, or whatever you say his name. The Sierra Club and several other environmental organizations like Earth Justice, Natural Resource Defense Council, and Food and Water Watch have argued that allowing the LNG transportation could lead to mass devastation. They have stated that the LNG is highly flammable and vulnerable to cascading explosions, which could destroy communities in which railroads cut through. Democratic lawmaker led by Rep. Chrissy Holana, DPA, wrote to the Transportation Secretary B. Buttigieg earlier this year asking for a permanent ban on LNG transportation via rail and pointed to safety risks cited by environmental groups. Now, I may harp on environmental groups. They do have their place. I mean, you don't want to do something that would intentionally harm the environment, or you may find ways to have whatever you want to do, but mitigate the offset of pollution. Because I do believe in clean air and clean water. And once we have clean air and clean water, everything else seems to work itself out. We don't want to intentionally poison the air or poison the drinking water. Let's see here. According to the PHMSA, the rulemaking helps the federal governments avoid potential risks to public health and environmental consequences, including direct and indirect greenhouse gas emissions. The agency stated the rule also provides sufficient time to complete the ongoing testing and evaluation effort regarding LNG rail transportation and allow the development to mitigate measures such as transportation. The victory can and must go deeper, Matt Smith, the director of Food and Water Watch, said in a statement the Biden administration should take action to eliminate the threat of fracked gas bomb trains entirely and must do more to stop new fossil fuel projects across the country. See, they want us to be without energy because fossil fuels is what drives our economy. I know these people don't want to hear it, but EVs are not the future as in right now. I mean, that may be 20, 30 years from now, but they're not as effective as fossil fuel. Fossil fuel, you could drive 500 miles, depending on your vehicle, between 3 to 500. And you'll be able to go to a gas station, fill it up in under, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and be on your way. An EV, you have to go do charges. It takes hours upon hours to charge a battery. Maybe down the road, they'll be able to get that down. And even then, the batteries have the environmental impact on themselves. I mean, you want to talk about water pollution, like the battery acids within the batteries, even lithium. You don't want that in your drinking water. Not to mention salt water and lithium do not mix. In June 2020, Trump administration announced that it finalized a rule greenlighting the rail shipment of LNG. Former Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao said the agency had put new safeguards in place to prevent dangerous accidents. Shortly after the rule was implemented, a coalition of environmental groups and Democratic-led states sued PHMSA over the rule. Of course they would. Because they don't want us to be energy independent. They don't want you and I to be independent. They want us to be dependent on the state and have rolling blackouts because we need to conserve our power so we don't pollute the earth. Why is New York going to be electric only for all stoves? Can't have a gas stove in New York anymore. I mean, they're coming for our fuel source. It makes you wonder why. Say something wrong on YouTube or Twitter. Hey, we'll just cut the power until you learn your ways. I don't know if that's going to be something that's going to happen. That's just speculation on my part. The extent to hold the rule of transportation of LNG rail by rail is disappointing. Railway Supply Institute President Patty Long said Friday transportation of LNG has a proven safety record, and with our country continuing to face rising energy prices, we should be incentivizing critical infrastructure that can provide additional capacity to the United States. We should not have to rely on foreign sources of LNG to meet the demands of certain parts of the country, she continued. Wong also penned a letter to the PHMSA in late 2021 in response to propose to suspend the LNG rail rule. Similarly, arguing industry was prepared for or to safely transport the fossil fuel. Daniel Swinton, a senior counsel for the major freight company CSX, warned that at the time the suspension of the 2020 regulation would impose significant cost burdens onto the company and could inadvertently impose safety and environmental risks. Pretty much, they want you out of business. But then again, once you run out of business, where are you going to store the stuff that you already have? Because, as they were mentioning, these are ticking time bombs. I don't know, it's quite a conundrum. Then, of course, you got Teddy Cruz, Rafael Cruz, Senator. I'm going to go to Cancun Cruz. There we go. Forgot where he was going. The ranking member of the Senate Commerce Committee said that the action late last week was the latest salvo in the Biden administration's war on energy. Today, Biden's administration has fired another salvo in its war on American energy by essentially prohibiting the movement of LNG by rail. Cruz said, America is a leader in reducing the carbon emission, largely because of the United States' development and use of natural gas. The energy renaissance we're seeing in this country is producing enormous environmental benefits. I mean, I think there's a couple of people that would disagree. Some people say fossil fuel is fossil fuel and burning them. Doesn't matter if it's petroleum or natural gas, it emits similar types of pollution. I mean, it doesn't really negate, one doesn't negate the other. According to certain studies, I don't have that up. It's just what I read because I looked into LNGs a little bit. LNG by rail would give Americans, particularly those who have limited energy choices because of geography, an affordable and environmental response option to meet their energy needs, the Texas Republican added. By removing this option, the radical environmentalists in Biden's administration have delivered a further setback to American prosperity and national security. This is yet another example why the Biden administration cannot be trusted with the implementation of pro-domestic energy policies. So yeah, I mean, there's no pipeline. He killed the Keystone XL pipeline expansion. Now he's preventing us to do fossil fuel or liquid natural gas by rail. It really does seem like there's a war against American energy. It's almost like they want us to be servants to the government because the government knows better. And it just, I don't know how that makes me feel. It's frustrating because I'm kind of on the environmentalist side, because I do want clean air and clean water. But at the same time, I recognize that we're not ready to get off fossil fuel. I mean, the sooner we get off fossil fuel, the better it would be, but we're just not there yet. That being said, that is my video for today. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.